Okay folks, this will be an interesting one. Let's see if we can make this one turn up a treat. Looks like something's going to be difficult. No, we don't want that. I don't know how big this one's going to be. Okay, let's see what we have. We have here Pub Trivia, UBS Pub Trivia Champions 2013. So this is a pub related piece, and this we're photocopying, of course, the front of it. It's a trophy, but basically I found this by the side of the road with a whole lot of other shit. So it's a pub. Yeah, pubs are no longer... you're not allowed to go to them anymore. COVID-19 has pulled the plug on the on being able to go to places like pubs. So there's no more. It's like no more fun, folks. Now that we're in the middle of a lockdown, and it looks like this damn lockdown's going to go for longer than expected, folks. We have to do it. That's the thing. We have to, but it's not exactly my idea of fun. But that's a pandemic for you, folks. Fucking pandemic known as COVID-19 or coronavirus. So we really have to get stuck in and just try to obey the rules of the lockdown as best as you can. Try your best. It's worth it. It'll be worth it in the end, hopefully. If they can get these infection numbers down. Now that looks interesting. Wondering if we're going to tilt it on an angle and get a more interesting result. So yeah, we have to somehow get these numbers down, get these statistics looking in our favour. Instead of getting all these high numbers of infections that we're getting. Infections in the community, should I say. They're the numbers where the authorities are looking to drop. So we've got to somehow try our best to lower those horrible numbers that we have. Now that looks interesting, but it's not quite what I want. I'm going to make it into a movement piece. Fuck it. Going to make it that, and we're going to make we're going to add some more brightness, make it more easier to see. So we're going to move it around. Oops, just bumped it against the edge there. Hope I didn't do any damage. I don't know how this is going to come out. As usual. Yeah, that looks interesting. Looks a bit on the minimalist side. Okay, let's try that again. But basically, yeah, we just have to somehow drop those infection numbers as much as we can. And that's more challenging than it looks. Yeah, that looks interesting, but it's not what I want. Wondering. Gonna try and spin it around more. But basically, yeah, we have to somehow try to drop those infection numbers. But if we can get vaccinated, more, if people can just not be afraid of the AstraZeneca, because they've got plenty of AstraZeneca floating around, and if we can use that AstraZeneca jab and make some use of it instead of balking at it and being afraid of it. I know it's scary and you think you're going to die of getting the Astra, but basically you're more likely to die of COVID than you are to die of some side effect from the AstraZeneca. We're going to stick with this again. We're going to move it around more. But basically, you're more likely to die of COVID than you are of this vaccine. The vaccine's got more benefits than the benefits outweigh the negatives, especially when you don't want to be stuck in a lockdown. If we can get enough people vaccinated to achieve this goal known as herd immunity, well, then we'll have a chance of eventually not having to deal with this dreadful virus. But basically, we can just get on with life as we have always lived it and always wanted to live it. You know, get a job, get a career, have a family, enjoy yourselves, you know, have fun. Fun is just lost out the window now because of this pandemic, you know. So we have to get vaxxed as fast as possible, folks, you know. I know AstraZeneca, as I said, has been linked to blood clots. We all know that, but fuck, there's nothing else, you know. You got to do it. But this is my opinion, folks. I'm not an expert, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fucking doctor or a GP. I am not a medico of any sort. I just want to clarify that, but I'm just telling you what I know, what I have observed and seen, and we just have to fucking... Yeah, if you have any questions about your jab, if you have any questions about AstraZeneca or blood clots or any of that shit, if you're worried about it, talk to your GP or whatever medical professional you can talk to who knows what they're talking about. I just want to give you a tip. My GP recently, and her family recently got vaccinated. She had one of the people in her family, I can't remember what ages the other ones were, but one of the people in her family was 20 years of age, and that person got vaxxed as well as the GP herself. Well, that person got vaxxed with the AstraZeneca, and they were only 20 years old. 20 years old, and they were done with the AstraZeneca. So that was my GP, and she's a very knowledgeable, a very good, respected GP, extremely respected, very good. So if it's good for her and her family, it's good for most other people. And ask your GP what they think, what is the best, you know. So a GP approving AstraZeneca jab for her 20-year-old child. I forgot whether it was a male or a female, but they were 20 years old. And, well, that person was 20 years old and got the Astra. Because we need to get as many people vaxxed as possible, folks. Now that looks really quite nice, actually. This looks less minimalist. I don't know why I didn't think of doing it that way earlier. But I'm really missing a loved one, and because of this pandemic and because of the resultant lockdown, even if I can get in touch with this person, my partner Luigi, it's likely I won't be able to see him until lockdown restrictions are eased, and we don't know how long this is going to go for. They're really desperate to get the numbers down, in particular the infectious in the community, while in the community numbers. And it's really discouraging switching on the news or looking at my desktop and finding that the fucking infection rates are gone in the wrong direction despite lockdown. I'm really discouraged, folks. So vaccination is the only way out, the true way out. So folks, get vaxxed. Listen to me, And talk, as I said, talk to your doctor, talk to your GP, okay? If you've got any questions. Anyway, that's enough. That looks really quite interesting. I think now we can call this demo quits.